तो मोहन एंड ऋषभ, आप दोनों का सवाल एक है कि कनाडा ने भारत को एक अलग किस्म के कैटेगरी में डाला है, उसके बारे में आप हमारी प्रतिक्रिया मांग रहे हैं। ये जो कैटेगराइजेशन उन्होंने किया है, ये अपने साइबर का उन्होंने एक रिपोर्ट जारी किया है, उसके तहत किया है। सो आई वुड लाइक टू आंसर दिस क्वेश्चन फॉर ऋषभ, फॉर यू एज वेल. We see this appears to be another example of a Canadian strategy to attack India. ये भारत को एक तरीके से फिर से अटैक करने की एक रणनीति है. As I mentioned earlier, their senior officials have openly confessed that they are seeking to manipulate global opinion against India. As on other occasions, imputations are made without any evidence. तो अनर्गल बात कह के मोहन जी और निराधार बात कह के आप हम पर आरोप थोप रहे हैं, ये बात बिल्कुल ठीक नहीं है. Rishabh, on your questions regarding surveillance, yes, some of our consular officials were recently informed by the Canadian government that they have been and continued to be under audio and video surveillance. Their communications have also been intercepted. We have formally protested to the Canadian government as we deem these actions to be a flagrant violation of relevant diplomatic and consular conventions. By citing technicalities, the Canadian government cannot justify the fact that it is indulging in harassment and intimidation. Our diplomatic and consular personnel are already functioning in an environment of extremism and violence. This action of the Canadian government aggravates the situation and is incompatible with established diplomatic norms and practices. To answer your question regarding the meeting, yes, the meeting did take place. I had in fact confirmed this earlier also in the earlier presser that we had, and I again reiterate that Canada so far has not shared with us any shred of evidence in the matter that you referred to. Raghavendra, on economic ties.
Why would you meet with them?
Sorry, there are several issues that you discuss when you meet. Raghavendra, a question on India-China economic ties. We had also issued a press release after our leaders met in Kazan. As agreed at the leaders' meeting in Kazan, relevant dialogue mechanisms at the level of foreign ministers and other officials will be utilized or used to stabilize and rebuild bilateral relations. We will let you know more when these mechanisms meet. We will let you know when these mechanisms meet to deal with issues of each other's interest and concerns. So let these meetings happen, and then we'll have further developments in regard to the question that you asked. As far as development regarding machinery, etc. See, India-Germany collaboration or economic cooperation is a large canvas. We have several issues which arise from time to time. These issues are resolved. These issues are solved in an amicable manner. Hopefully, whatever issues that are there, it will also be resolved to the best of satisfaction of both sides. अशोक, आपने बात कही अनमोल बिश्नोई की. ये जो मसला है, इन सब चीज़ों पे अभी इन्वेस्टिगेशन चल रहा है, छानबीन चल रही है, और इन सब बातों, ये सब जो बातें हैं ये लीगल डोमेन में आती है, और चूंकि लीगल डोमेन में आती हैं, जो स्टैब्लिश्ड प्रोसीजर्स है उसके तहत इस मसले पे कार्रवाई होगी. जहाँ तक आपने बात कही बिजली बांग्लादेश को बेचने वाली बात जो कही, ये मसला जो है दो पार्टी के बीच में है. एक कॉन्ट्रैक्चुअल ऑब्लिगेशन है दोनों के बीच में. एक प्राइवेट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है, दूसरे गवर्नमेंट ऑफ बांग्लादेश है. भारत सरकार इस कॉन्ट्रैक्ट का कोई भाग, इस कॉन्ट्रैक्ट के में हमारा कोई रोल नहीं है, इसलिए मेरे पास आपसे इससे ज़्यादा शेयर करने के लिए कोई अभी इस वक्त कोई इन्फॉर्मेशन नहीं है. Abhishek?
Hi, sir. Abhishek Jha, I'm independent journalist. My question is regarding Canada. There are reports that Canadian government has reduced number of visas they used to issue to the Indians. And also, if you can share some insight on that. And also, recently, Canadian opposition leaders have cancelled a scheduled Diwali event in Canadian Parliament. So, if you have any comment on that.
Keshav?
Good afternoon, sir. Keshav Padmanabhan from The Print. This is also on Canada. The National Security and Intelligence Advisor at the hearing said that they had attempted to meet with the Indian side on the 8th of October, but no visa was given.
All right, Mohammad Ghazali, in fact, who tracks the Minister of External Affairs, is now live with us. So, Ghazali, very strong response there from India as far as the allegations of a Canadian minister is concerned. These are very serious allegations. In fact, the Home Minister was directly named in some of those allegations, and India strongly rejecting those allegations and also saying that we have handed over a note to a Canadian diplomat.
See, Vedant, this shows the kind of relations or how relations between India and Canada has taken a hit. It all started with this Lawrence Bishnoi and his involvement or allegations of Canadian government that Lawrence Bishnoi is or his men are active in Canada and are taking out targeted killings there at the behest of Indian government. That was the allegation. And it gradually, we saw how the relations between the two countries took a hit with our Indian High Commissioner over there being summoned, recalled back by the Indian government, and then 6 other diplomats of Canada being asked to leave the country last month. And now the MEA has strongly reacted to what the Canadian government was alleging, hinting that our Home Minister was involved or on his statements or words, these actions or killings are being taken place. And that is why a diplomatic note was handed over to the representative of Canadian High Commission here in India. And he was told that if this kind of activities continue, and many other responses were given by the MEA spokesperson today, not only just about how the Canadian government has been maligning India by influencing other nations, by leaking the intelligence reports or reports of investigation. And meanwhile, India also continues to maintain, in the last several weeks, Indian government has kept reiterating the fact that Canadian government has not shared any evidence of whether it was Nijjar's killing or involvement of Indian nationals there or Indian citizens there. And now they keep on alleging their allegations or list of allegations continue to increase, that now naming the Indian Home Minister. And that is why this strong reaction was expected from MEA, and they have done it. And the MEA spokesperson also spoke about reports that how the Canadian government was also involved in surveillance and also spying against our own officials who are based there in the embassy. And that is why India has also warned of serious consequences if this kind of attitude and behavior from Canada continues by throwing wild allegations against Indian officials, Indian ministers, and people who are involved in diplomatic activities or from the diplomatic community who are staying in Canada.
All right, Ghazali, stay on with us. I believe we'll have to go back to where the Minister of External Affairs spokesperson is currently addressing that.
Reached high levels of intolerance and extremism. That is what I have to say in response to your question. The other question you also raised about reduction in number of visas by the Canadian government. We obviously are monitoring the well-being of our student community in Canada, as also the well-being of our professionals who are working in Canada. Our concern for the safety and security remains very strong. नीरज, ये बड़े दुख की बात है कि वहाँ पर इजराइल में हमले में 4 लोगों की हताहत हुई अभी, और वो थाईलैंड के रहने वाले, जैसे आपने बताया, हमारे तरफ से हमारी एक बड़ी समुदाय है वहाँ पर, करीबन 25 से 30 हज़ार लोग वहाँ पर इजराइल में हैं, काम करते हैं, कार्यरत हैं. हमारी जो एम्बेसी है, दूतावास है, वो उनसे लगातार टच में है. उन्होंने एक आपने देखा होगा कि ट्रैवल एडवाइजरी और उनको एडवाइजरी भी दिया है किस प्रकार से अपनी सुरक्षा को बेहतर बहाल करें, और समय समय पर भारतीय दूतावास से वो टच में रहें ताकि हम उनका बेहतर ख्याल कर सकते हैं. आपने ये भी देखा होगा कि हम लोग कुछ दिन पहले एक स्टेटमेंट भी हम लोग ने दिया था जो वेस्ट एशिया में वहाँ पर जो हालात हैं उस पर, तो मैं आपका ध्यान उस वक्तव्य पर आकर्षित भी करना चाहूँगा. On BRICS summit, yes, my understanding is that partner countries status, 13 countries were admitted as partner countries. this was a decision which was collectively taken by the BRICS countries. Partner countries is different from a full membership. That is what I understand. As far as whether this particular issue has been closed or not at this point in time, this is my understanding that these 13 countries have become partner countries. 1-3. Ajay, regarding a question about timelines of next steps, bilateral meeting, etc., at this point in time, I don't have anything to update you on. Uma, you had something?
Sir, this is regarding Taliban's recent diktat, where they have said that they don't want, a woman to hear another woman's voice. And India has always been sort of talking about the welfare and empowerment of women in Afghanistan. What does India think about it now?
Elena, you had something?
I've got just one more question on this very important meeting which we all were witnessing on the sidelines of BRICS summit between Modi, Prime Minister, and Chinese President Xi Jinping. So it took place on the sidelines of BRICS in Kazan. So how was it organized? Can we speak about some kind of role of the host of the summit in this meeting? Like maybe some mediation role, or so how was it all organized in Kazan? Thank you.
Rishabh?
So, can we have a confirmation that the disengagement in Depsang and Demchok area of Eastern Ladakh has been completed? And B, sir, there are reports and claims being made that there are towers being seen along the LAC. One of the footage also has captured that. If we can have some information on that what India know about those towers near LAC that is being presumed to be Chinese.
Rishabh?
Didn't answer my previous question.
What?
On the NSIA allegations at the hearings.
Okay. So Huma, on Taliban, you are aware of our position. Our position on this particular issue is very well known. So that is where I'll stop. Elena, yes, the meeting of Prime Minister and President of China took place in Kazan. It was bilaterally arranged, and Kazan was the venue for it. This particular question was also posed to the Foreign Secretary, who responded very well in Kazan as well. Rishabh, on your question regarding disengagement and patrolling, you are all aware that on 21st October 2024, the last phase of disengagement was agreed upon between India and China. As a result, verification patrolling has commenced on mutually agreed terms in Demchok and Depsang. And as things move forward, we will keep you updated on this matter. Regarding the tower that you, sorry?
Verification patrolling.
It's called verification, yes. Verification patrolling in both places. The other issue that you raised, the tower, I don't have any. I'll come back to you on this particular matter. Keshav, these issues that you raised, these technical details I don't have, but I can tell you, as I've said, that the meeting took place in Singapore between our NSA and the Canadian NSA as well. With that, we come to the close of this press briefing. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, so several important several important statements there by the Ministry of External Affairs spokesperson on Canada particularly, and also on the line of actual control. Mohammad Ghazali continues to be with us. Ghazali, this snooping charge against Canada is a huge one, given the fact that what India now seems to suggest is that our consular officers were under some sort of surveillance, and there's this huge spying charge that now India has leveled against Canada amid the entire Niger face-off.
Yeah, certainly. And Canada has been repeatedly alleging these, accusing our diplomats of all these wild allegations as of now, because MEA has discarded or sort of refused of any such involvement of Indian officials there. These are wild allegations. And as I was reporting earlier, that how Canada issues or sort of shares this information in the media, their officials, their ministers keep targeting India or accuse India of meddling in their internal affairs. But when it comes to sharing evidence about it, whether it all started with Niger's killing, we remember that how last year the Canadian Prime Minister, Mr. Justin Trudeau, said in the Parliament that this killing is smears of the fact that perhaps India's involvement is there. And since then, it's been more than a year, India keeps repeating the fact that the government of India has not received any kind of evidence from Canada to back their claims and back their allegations that India was involved, or it was being done at the behest of Indian government, or what they say that these targeted killings or these people who are being killed at the behest of Indian government. And now building up on that, the Canadian government named Indian Home Minister Amit Shah, and now these charges of spying and snooping on Indian diplomatic officials there is something which suggests that perhaps the relationship between the two countries have taken a severe hit, and it will perhaps take decades or not even years when it comes to restore these relationships. And that is why the Indian government is also concerned about the Indian community over there, because there may be a handful of people who are troublemakers, but there is a large Indian diaspora in Canada. There are students who are studying in different universities. There are people who are in different professions who work there and stay there in Canada. And that is also one of the primary concerns of the Indian government. And that is why, despite all this happening, despite all the allegations which have been leveled in the last 1 week or so, the Indian government is still trying to engage. They are protesting, they are registering their objections to whatever the comments are being made by the Canadian government. But when it comes to the well-being of Indian community, that is also a primary concern of the Indian government here.
Absolutely, and also, on the line of actual control, the Minister of External Affairs has now said that patrolling has begun, up north as well. So this is certainly a huge diplomatic breakthrough there as well. While of course Canada continues to be the most important story out of the Ministry of External Affairs briefing, what's happening at the line of actual control is equally important as well.
Yeah, so one big achievement, and other we can say not a setback, but certainly an unfortunate development when it comes to diplomatic relations between India and Canada. As far as the India-China LSA dispute is concerned, we heard the Prime Minister meeting when he was meeting on the sidelines of BRICS with the Chinese counterpart there, and then MEA clarifying that how the issues of LSA dispute has been resolved. And now, yet again, the MEA spokesperson confirming that patrolling has also started along the LSE after the negotiations between both the parties. So on one hand, one big dispute on the way of getting resolved, and then we have things heating up with Canada yet again, with the Canadian government going ahead with their charges against the Indian Home Minister, politician, and diplomatic community as well. And that needs a major concern for India. India is registering its protest, as the MEA spokesperson mentioned, that how the representative of Canadian High Commission was summoned yesterday by the MEA, and then it was handed a diplomatic note for all these allegations which have been leveled by the Canadian minister there.
All right, Ghazali, thanks very much for joining us with the latest there, as Ghazali is reporting several important diplomatic developments. First, of course, the Ministry of External Affairs rejecting allegations against the Home Minister levelled by Canada, saying that these are all baseless allegations, and a diplomatic note has been handed over to Canada as well. Apart from that, India also levelling a huge charge against Canada, saying that consular officials in Canada are being spied on and communications have been intercepted. So the India-Canada diplomatic relations certainly hitting rock bottom there, with the Ministry of External Affairs levelling fresh charges against Canada.